Hey YouTube, this is the Purple One. A few days ago I did a video on will we give away too much of our javelins if we need them for a war that we're directly involved in. There's a lot of comments where I don't know what I'm talking about. We always give our old junk away. Haven't you seen the defense budget? We're sure we got plenty. I'm going by what I've been experienced in active duty, what I have still friends inside active duty, what I have friends in reserves and National Guard. My son served active duty, now he's in the National Guard. We have both seen huge problems with getting just spare parts for a Hummer, spare parts for a Bradley, spare parts for anything. It has always been that way. Some years it's been worse, depends who was in the presidency. That is a problem. I've seen it. I've had to fight to get parts to keep equipment running. So if you don't think that we have this endless supply in there, you are sadly mistaken. The United States government, yes, has a huge stockpile, but when you start giving away your stuff and you don't have that plan to reproduce and make more, you're in serious trouble. The Center for Strategic and International Studies came out today with an article published. So I beat them by a few days. Will the United States run out of javelins before Russia runs out of tanks? And it goes into the javelin being an excellent, one of the best anti-tank weapons there is. And as Ukraine has a very limited infantry, they don't have mechanized forces as much, they have to rely on these weapons to take out the Russians' tanks. According to the Army budget books, a total production of javelins, 37,739 since the production began in 1994. Each year, U.S. forces use some missiles for training and testing. Thus, there may be about 20,000 to 25,000 remaining in the stockpile. We have given Ukrainians, they're saying 7,000 of these weapon systems, 7,000 missiles. So really, we've given them about a third of what we have left in inventory. And that's a huge amount because it takes time to make new ones. On the average, the United States government buys about 1,000 javelins a year. So when you want new javelins, it takes about 32 months. The delivery time is 32 months. That is, once an order is placed, it will take 32 months before a missile is delivered. That's a long time. That's close to 3 to 4 years to replace missiles. So are we actively replacing missiles? Knowing the United States military, I have no reason that they're quickly making new ones. They could be, but it still takes time. Can they get all the chips? This is a sophisticated piece of equipment. This is not an M16 and M4. And it's also not just the javelins we're giving away. We're giving away a lot of stingers. A lot of stingers. So are we replacing the stingers? It goes into other weapon systems we're giving them. They're thinking that the Russians have a lot of tanks. The Russians have 2,800 tanks and 13,000 armored vehicles. But they also have 10,000 tanks in storage and 85,000 armored vehicles in storage. So they have a lot. Open source intelligence indicated that Russians have lost about 1,300 armored vehicles. So they have a lot of tanks. Their problem would be trained crews and the dwindling morale because they are losing so much armor. So really no one knows what's in inventory because it is a secret. But by going from the budget and what's been produced, and my first-hand experience, along with other people's in the military, there is a supply problem. So, some people in that last video said, basically, yeah, supply problem, but not in javelins. We got plenty of javelins. I find that hard to believe because a javelin is a lot harder to acquire than a basic machine part to go to a Hummer. That piece should be readily available. It's a piece of metal, holes drilled in it. It's nothing computerized. It's no chips. So, the Center for Strategic International Studies is concerned. That sort of backs up what I've been saying. If we go into a World War III, and people say, well, if we go to World War III, it doesn't matter because we're going to be using nukes. Nukes could develop later on. We could go into a conventional fight And I would say we would go into a conventional fight. And then when one side starts losing, it's more inclined to use a nuke. Or if we're beating the Russians badly and we could invade their sovereign territory, they would probably use a nuke to stop that. Doesn't really matter. We're using a lot of equipment. We need to be replacing it. It's going to cost money to replace it. Money we don't have. Every day the deficit keeps ticking and ticking up about $2 billion. You can't solve this problem. All you can do is prep for your individual family, for your community. So do what you're doing. Keep prepping, but keep an eye on this. As we get rid of equipment, we lost a lot of equipment in Afghanistan, equipment that we could definitely use elsewhere in the world, or just bring it back to the United States and put it on our southern border, where the real invasion's happening. Thanks for watching.